Nowadays, the recent techniques are used in the field of geography, especially in field surveying or in field work. So these techniques belongs to the certain environment which are under the digital control. Now these recent techniques are used in geography, especially in field surveys for the representation of various data and in mapping. So if we have the example of the river field work, now these type of field works are conducted because to investigate the causes and impact of river flooding. So in the field of flooding, or flood is one of the hazard of the Pakistan. So how we can handle this hazard, which becomes a disaster for the community of that area. First of all, we must investigate the causes and the impact of the river. So what are the causes? One of the causes is ice melting due to the rise of the temperature. The ice is melting, so that's why we have the water in the river channel. And the second factor or cause behind the flooding is the rainfall. So the catchment area of the river actually receives the rain during the monsoon season. So that's why we have the excessive amount of water in the river channel. So that's why we have the flood in the river. So these are the causes. So how we can calculate or investigate the causes? So by the help of the ground surveys to observe the catchment area or to map the area which is under the rainfall, under the meltwater. So here we can produce a map for the future generations to investigate the reason of the flood. In the same areas, we must know what is the river processes, or what are the river processes. So here we again investigate the downstream changes in channel, investigating meanders or river plain. So these two are actually belongs to the slope of the valley, the volume of the water, the material that river carries. So all these are the factors. So if we have the knowledge of the area, then we can calculate or investigate the channel or the volume of the water within the channel. How we can investigate? So here we must know the geology of the area, which kind of structure, geological structure is. If the geological structure is for faulted environment, so it has different behavior. If it has folded environment, it has different behavior. So again, the factor of the geology of the rock or the rock structure is very important here. Which type of rock it is. If it is sedimentary rock, so the water carries maximum material. If it is metamorphic rock, so water carries less material. So the volume of the water or the volume of the material that river carries totally controlled by the geological structure and the lithology of the rock. So the floodplain or the meanderings of the river actually controlled by the geology and geomorphology of the area. Same is the case with the coastal fieldwork. So coastal fieldwork actually controlled by certain type of processes. So here we have the wave erosion and the sedimentation of the river delta. So both areas we can investigate the landform and sediment analysis. So again, if we have the knowledge regarding the delta river sedimentation and coastal wave erosion, we must or we can control the coastal environment, or we can manage the coastal environment. So by investigating methods, perceptions and impact. So we have again a different example here regarding the geographical field work. If we are dealing with the urban environment, so urban today world is 60% urbanized. So that's why this part of the area is very important regarding the urban inequalities. So here we have certain areas which are controlled by high income group, medium income group and low income group. So all these groups are actually belongs to the urban areas. So we must handle all these things under the equal spaces. Second most important thing regarding the urban environment is urban rebranding. So some of the areas are under degradations, like we have the example of the domestic use of water. So we can reuse that water, which is today called the grey water. So in sustainable use of water in the environment, we can reuse the domestic water for our kitchen garden and for our watering of the plants. So here we can rebrand the urban environment. We have second example regarding the air, which is polluted by certain things which are related with our networking. So vehicles are very important here, or industries are important. So we must zone the environment, or urban zoning is very important. Some areas are under the industrial zones, some are under the residential places. So these are actually the controlled environment where we can rebrand the urban environment. So we must manage the existing environment through monitoring, and when we can manage the urban areas, we can plan the region. Same is the case with the rural fieldwork. So rural characteristics, multi-village studies of the settlement hierarchies are very important here. And the field work of the rural environment regarding change activity is also very important, where we have the counter urbanization and other recent changes. And the last, but it is one of the very important area of the field work, is the ice field work and ecological field works. So those are actually related with the glacier environment and glacial fluvial environment. When we are studying the ecology of the area, so we must know which type of environment it has. If it is desert environment, we must know the shifting of the sand dunes and the area which is under the vegetal cover.